Welcome all to the ESL, the Electronic Sports League Opening Cup Finals between Barton and HelpingHans. This is going to be game 2, and the factions will be reversed. So Barton did a very good, strong job as Axis in game 1 on Pripyat Winter. Massive stronghold in the center, which houses all of the 3 VPs and that very, very powerful watchtower as well. That was a very nice, strong Axis play from Barton, I think. What do you think about that, IpKai?
Yeah, it was. Had a hard point in the form of a bunker, as well as just a normal half track, just to reinforce, so he didn't have to retreat that often. So he would soft retreat, heal up, reinforce, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, it was basically impossible for Hans to dislodge him in the center. I think, especially when the VPs were getting low, he had one T-34 down in the south. He had, the resources. He had resources, I believe, but he just didn't have the VPs. And especially in tournament games, you just need the VPs. You gotta have the VPs. You want to drain your opponent, even if you end up losing as much as possible, so you can get faction choice for the third game if it goes to a third game or a fifth game, as we had in the TFN World Championship. Our finals were a best of 5, so you really gotta try and get as many VPs away from your opponent as possible if it goes to a game 5, which it did between Sefa and Aimstrong in the TFN World Championship. And Aimstrong managed to muscle his way back into game 5 after being a little bit of a base pin, and he didn't really have that many sectors in his control. But, Sefa threw away a few units, and then nice and steady win for Aimstrong after that. So let's see if Hans can actually play a very strong Axis play as well. I believe that, Hans' preferred faction has always been Axis. He played a lot of PE, for example, in Vico, which is one of the Axis factions in Company of Heroes 1. You got the Wehrmacht, and you got Panzer Elite. And then you have the Brits and the US as the allies in Company of Heroes 1. And in Company of Heroes 2, obviously, only 2 factions right now. You have the Austria and the Soviets. So let's see if Hans can win as his strongest faction. I believe being the Axis for him, at least for his playstyle. I know for a fact that he likes using smoke a lot. What do you think about smoke in Company of Heroes 2? Because it's different from Vico.
Yeah, smoke is a really interesting tool because it provides a shot, well, not a shot blocker, but it blocks out line of sight. So it's a really useful ability. I mean, we saw that one replay with the Relic devs where they were using Panzer Tactician, which what it does, it has smoke canister launchers on the tanks and any other vehicle the Axis have. And when you launch the smoke, it basically provides a screen that you can't see through. So if you're about to get hit by an AT gun and you want to get out quickly, you pop the smoke and you retreat. Or you can use it offensively. You can try and get a flank on something, pop the smoke, hard to see the tank, and then you can also use it with your infantry as well. Infantry and tanks helps flank, MGs or other hard points. So it's a really useful ability. Shock troops, I believe, on the Soviets, they have smoke.
Yeah, smoke grenades.
Yeah. I mean, what I try and do is, because they're short-range troops, you can try and use a smoke grenade to make them come towards you or block their line of sight, so it's they can't shoot at you. So it's a tool you can use as well in that regard, rather than a regular grenade.
Yeah, especially with shock troops, you can use it to basically close the distance, because they're better with their PPSHs, which they come with by default now for 480 manpower, compared to before when they were 360, and you actually had to upgrade the PPSHs at 60 munitions as well. But now they come stock with PPSHs, a little bit more manpower intensive now. The cost is a bit higher at 480 manpower compared to 360. But with smoke grenades, you can close the distance quite easily, because it's basically almost a shot blocker. So you can just throw a smoke grenade and then just advance towards whatever is sitting there, like an MG, for example, and just go straight behind it, wait a little bit for the smoke to clear, and then just mow them down at close range with the PPSHs. So I really enjoy seeing smoke. Not many people, however, playing Soviets are using shock doctrines. I know one of the Company of Heroes streamers, Steven, he likes shock troops quite a lot, and he uses smoke grenades as well. I've seen it on stream when he's been streaming. He streams quite a lot, so go check that out. I believe he's in the stream list. If you just scroll on down, you can see all the community links, which has HelpingHans, for example, which is playing in this finals of the ESL Opening Cup, and it has Barton as well, and Steven, which I just talked about, for example, and many others. So go ahead and grow the community and check out their channels and follow their channels, so you can catch them when they're live playing some Company of Heroes 2. But yeah, let's get into game 2 between HelpingHans and Barton of the ESL Opening Cup. This is the finals. It's going to be interesting to see if Hans can pull a win with his Axis against Barton. So without further ado, we're at 5-second mark, and I got Hans playing as the Axis, and you get to follow Barton's Soviets. IpKai, you ready to go?
Yeah, ready to go.
Unpause in 3, 2, 1. Unpause. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. It seems the chat has come back to life all of a sudden after being dormant for quite a while. I'm not exactly sure what Twitch is up to. Not much, it seems, but whatever. At least it kind of works now, I think.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything just in case it breaks again. You know how temperamental the service can be at times, so let's not talk too much about it.
Yeah, let's just leave Twitch alone so it doesn't actually go and break again. But something different or very common I see compared to Barton opening up with an additional PIO. We just have the initial PIO from Hans building the tier 1 building, and he's got a Gren coming out right now.
Yeah, standard. It'd probably be like Gren MG, or maybe Gren MG. Sometimes when I play as Axis, I go Gren MG, Gren, and then Tech. Yeah, half trek out.
Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes when I see, for example, heavy M3 play, I just skip the MG because generally the M3s, especially with flamers in, and kinda nullifies my support weapons because they can get around so easily. So getting loads of Grens instead, maybe. Generally, I go for 1 MG and 3 Grens, but when I see loads of M3s, either I go for 3 Grens, just skip the M3 to tech fast enough to get that scout car and the upgun, for example, and just try to avoid him so he doesn't get the first CP. Without the first CP, he can't get guards, and without guards, he can't really properly counter my scout cars. As long as I keep the microed well enough so I can stay away from his attempt at 18 8s, for example, and I just hunt the M3s instead.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point as well. Try not to give him too much XP so he doesn't get any CPs.
Yeah, Barton knows. He's just going for the center as both factions. He went instantly with his first PIO for the center when he was playing Axis, and he did the same thing again.
Yeah, I mean, put the opponent under pressure, get the VPs draining. I mean, most of the resources are all on the fringes of the map. But if you can get the VPs down, then when he decides to then work on the middle, it's going to be hard to get rid of him.
Barton tried to get away from the MG, which is supporting these Grens on the right-hand side center, and that forces off the Conscript squad, and there's one Combat Engineer squad which got one burst on them, suppressed them. They're trying to crawl away into safety, but the Grens are coming up nice and close with them now, so they're most likely going to be forced to retreat as well, as the second Conscript squad for Barton was actually sent for capping. So his initial Combat Engineers and first Conscript went straight for the center, straight for the VPs and that watchtower. But the second squad started capping, because obviously you need some form of resources. You don't want to be out-teched in the Competitive Heroes games. Competitive Heroes 1 or Competitive Heroes 2, it can be extremely devastating if you get out-teched. So you need territories, you need resources.
Yeah, glad there is some ways of holding off superior tech. If you can get mine in a good spot, you can kind of keep it off bay for a while. Or you can use a Panzerfaust, or if you tech 18 aids early, you can put their tech at bay for a short period of time. But it's not a hard counter, and you shouldn't rely on it.
No, exactly. You can't really rely on it, but it's good for stalling. Just buying you that additional time that you might need to get your tech out of your own, so you have a proper hard counter to whatever is hitting you. But you can keep them at bay with things like mines and abilities like Panzerfaust and 18 8s, for example. Especially something that I don't see many people use. I played a game versus a Soviet player on this very map, Pripyat Winter, a few days ago. And he got a fast T70, but my Tellermine was faster. So yeah, you can figure out the outcome of that battle, because his T70 went straight into my defensive position, straight into a Tellermine, straight into death, and that was basically game, because he sunk all of his resources into that T70, and when it didn't work, when it instantly died, I was already ahead, and that put me so much ahead. It was a massive uphill battle. And after that, I just basically cleared them off the entire map, took the whole map, and that was game. So yeah, defensive positions, you got to strengthen your flanks, for example, with mines, just guarding it. And with the watchtower on Pripyat Winter, that can be fairly easy to do, actually, because you get the line of sight that you require.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing as well, when you're placing mines, is that the units will go over certain paths. They'll always take like a higher priority. So when you learn the paths that the units take naturally, then you know, oh, that's a good point to place a mine, because everybody won't be like individually shift-clicking a pattern of movement. Sometimes they'll just click on the point they want them to go on. So it's always wise to also put them on like the most commonly traveled paths as well.
Yeah, mostly units, vehicles, infantry, etc., trying to stay away from heavy snow, for example, because it slows their movement. So they're going to stick to the roads. So roads being obviously, quite a usual spot for mines, for example.
Yep, fantastic place for mines. But I mean, that's one thing as well. The player should be aware that, hey, he might have mined that road, so I'm going to avoid it or buy a minesweeper.
Yeah, and you don't really need to clear many mines. I don't think, apart from only planting one section of the anti-personnel mines that the Axis have, clearing one Soviet mine with your Axis minesweeper is basically, you've made a profit already, because the mine is 35 and the sweeper is 30, I think. So, you just need to clear one to make back the price of the sweeper.
Yeah, it's something like that. I mean, if you know if your opponent's using mines a lot, go for it. It's really good.
Generally, Soviet players will have quite a lot of munitions, especially when they don't use that many 18-8s or Molotovs. Then it's most likely going to be mines. So getting a minesweeper when you don't see your Soviet opponent using his munitions is probably a worthy investment, generally, especially on maps which has chokes, like the spring version of Pripyat, for example, with the bridges. And down south, they usually mine it off so that you can't approach from that side and, protect their flanks with mines. Getting a sweeper on maps like that is a very good investment.
Oh yeah, very good investment. Very, very good. They've lost their munitions and you've saved your vehicles.
Yeah, casualties or whatever. Yeah, exactly. And, as the Soviet mine is basically the same price as a sweeper almost, you made a profit after clearing one mine, and you've made double your profit back, or double of your cost of the sweeper back with 2 mines. And if you keep going like that for the entire game, it's just going to be a massive munitions sink for your opponent, while you basically spent none.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's right. I mean, should note, Barton has actually gone for another scout car, and he's getting a penal battalion.
Penal battalion?
Yeah.
What do you think about that choice? That's you don't very often see penal battalions, but it's basically a combat engineer on crack, you could say, because it's 6 men instead of 4, and you can still get a flamer. And you have the satchel charges, which I find extremely powerful on maps with snow, especially if you can catch an infantry squad in heavy snow. Even retreating instantly might not be enough to get out of the explosion radius from a satchel charge.
Yeah, they're really useful. As well as that, penals have also got better rifles.
Yeah.
So they're much they got much more higher damage. The thing is, though, their durability is exactly the same as a conscript squad.
Yeah, same armor, same HP, I believe. So they're still fairly squishy when it comes to fighting things like grenadiers at long range and P-Grens coming up to close range using True Sight, for example, to get a nice flank off. Can be very devastating against penal battalions because, as you say, when it comes to staying power with armor and health, they're basically just a conscript squad again.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They also cost more to reinforce. They have, I think, 30 manpower per model, per man. So it's something to be aware of as well.
Wow.
Oh, and here's the flame half track. Loads of flames.
Yeah, penal battalion got a nice crit on a 4-man Gren squad. Almost took him out down to 1-man retreats, but at the same time that Flammenwerfer came on to the flank of that penal battalion squad, and they basically had nothing to protect themselves against vehicles. So all Barton has now when it comes to anti-vehicles, is that 18 aids? Is that it?
Yeah, just 18 aids. He hasn't. And he's just got a guard squad on the field. He's also gone hit the Dirt Doctrine as well. As I said earlier, very popular commander.
Yeah, I think it's basically the most popular commander compared to what we saw in the finals, where I think Cepha used that doctrine, but Armstrong used the coordination one with the double T-3485 call-in. He never used Hit the Dirt.
No, I mean, he used that one, which gives you, I believe, a stronger later game. Oh, double 18-8 kills that scout car.
It was a very, very nice kill. Getting rid of the scout car means that these M3s can now move around freely again. They obviously have to stay away from the Flammenwerfer, but apart from that, they can still take him out as well with the MGs, and especially if you stick a guard squad in one of the M3s to chase that light vehicle. So, I believe Hans lost one Pio down south previously to one of the M3s from Barton, and he's lost that scout car now as well. And yeah, he still has his 2 Gwens and 2 MGs. And his Flammenwerfer intact, and a couple of Pios, and I think he's building... Yeah, he's taking tier 3 already, so very fast at 10 minutes.
Yeah, Barton, no sign of tech from him, and he's just lost the conscript squad in retreat.
So trying to plant tellers on that bridge. If he would have just done it a little bit earlier, that M3 wouldn't have been able to cross that bridge and try and take out this Flammenwerfer now. Gets 2 nice PTRS hits on that half track. It did get 18-aided by that conscript squad that was taken out on retreat, but he does manage to take it out. I think that's, you know, worthy investment almost of losing a conscript squad to actually getting the kill on that Flammenwerfer, because if you leave that thing alive for too long, it's gonna get Vet 2, and at Vet 2, things are getting way more difficult to counter.
Yeah, it gets much harder to kill, much harder to kill. And also as well, the Faust missed on the scout car, so quite unfortunate for Hans there.
He's gonna get another attempt to Fausting one of these scout cars. He gets it in, and it's very low health, but due to those flamers and the 2 scout car main guns as well, they force off all of the infantry, and right now the only squad outside of Hans's base is this MG in the center.
Yeah, I know, he's probably gonna try and pop in that building now, just to you know, to shore up for a bit until he can get reinforcements back to that point.
I was trying to backpedal away, but it was not enough as there were conscript squad flanking that MG, so yeah. Forced away from the center as well, and Hans is basically stuck in his base.
Yep, he's in trouble.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough fuel to get that P4 out, so he basically spent quite a lot of resources teching, but he can't actually get anything from it, so this is a problem right now.
Oh yeah, really big problem. If he's not got the fuel to get the P4 out, then it's going to be a while before he can, you know, push these these M3s away, and you know get back on the map, gain control.
Yeah, he's got no hard counter. The scout car died. His own scout car got double 18-aided, and they're very squishy. So if you get 18-aided, mostly 118-aided is enough, and then your small arms fire after that. Obviously, it depends on what's actually supporting the scout car as well. But you know, generally that's going to be enough because they're very squishy, even against small arms fire.
Yeah. Still, I've noticed Barton's still got no, you know, vehicle buildings up yet as well. He is building another engineer though. I'm guessing just to build those buildings while everything's out on the field.
Here comes Hans' breakout attempt from his base. He chases off the 2 M3s. They're going to go up north, capping instead most likely. He's grabbed both of the territories. And he's grabbed both of the fuels, which means that Hans only have a 10 fuel income at 103 in the bank and a P4 at 115. Fuel is going to be a full minute and a little bit more to just get enough fuel now for building that P4. And 1 minute is going to be a long time, and it's going to enable Barton to cap even more of the map.
Yeah, get a solid VP lead as well.
Yeah, triple capped again against Hans now. Barton was drained to below 300, so at 294. But he's put the triple cap back on the Axis player helping Hans now.
Sorry, it's going to be very tricky for Hans to come back now. Very difficult. I mean, he's lost a lot of map control, and it'll be a while before he can get his big breakthrough unit to help him.
Yeah, 113 fuel, 114 in the bank. He just needs a little bit more. Nice use of overdrive to get that M3 out of the firing range of the double MGs now setting up here. Hans is trying to break out in this conscript squad, even with hit the dirt, which makes them immune to suppression and being pinned. It still does a little bit of damage to them, and they are forced to retreat. So he's actually going to be able to stop the triple cap at least. He's down to 404 VPs now, and at the same time he's sending 2 infantry squads down south, the Axis player helping Hans now, 1 Pyro squad and a Vet 1 Gren squad. Problem is, when you split up your forces like this, obviously Hans needs territories. But with double M3s on the field, you know, they're basically very good fast response vehicles, and you can get down there fairly quickly. And just when it's just 1 infantry squad, especially even if it is 2, you can force them off with double M3s quite easily.
Oh yeah, indeed. I mean, just take one unit off, push them about. Because I mean, what you can do is just, if it's a grenadier, you can push them about, and it takes a while for the Panzerfaust to actually fire off as well.
Yeah, Flamer's doing quite a lot of damage in Company of Heroes 2 as well. You can see that especially on vehicles like the KV-8 and the Flammenwerfer, which is not that easy to kill, and you can't actually get these crits. Because in Company of Heroes 2, you can get lucky crits on the guy that just happened in the center that carries the flamethrower when they just basically go up in flame.
Yeah, and that engineer squad's dead.
So much for that squad. Barton not paying attention, most likely microing units. He sent his N3 down south to get repaired at the repair station. He's got some conscripts coming out trying to stop these German infantry squads capping his territories on the opposite side of the river from the German base. So yeah, one squad down for Barton. Not too bad. It was a bit of a munitions investment with that flamer going down as well, but even if he would have retreated that combat engineer squad and kept it alive, he still would have lost his flamer. So yeah, the munitions would have been down anyway. There goes a Grand down south. Nice victory for Barton.
Yeah, Barton's also, the Su-85 is about to come out for him. He's actually finally teched up now, so he's got his tier 4.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice... It's basically the go-to counter for Soviet players right now against the Axis medium armor like P4s, Oswins, for example, and Stuks as well. That Su-85 just basically grinds everything down to a halt. You can't approach it straight on. You gotta get a flank on it. And without Vet 1, which actually enables you to use Blitzkrieg ability on your medium tanks, like the P4 for example, which makes them extremely speedy, and it's quite easy to get around on Su-85, because the turning rate on that thing is horrendously slow, especially when not being on a road.
Yeah, I mean also as well, I believe someone made, one of the devs made a comment that if you slow the vehicle as well, it also affects the turning speed. So if you can get a Panzerfaust on it too, then it's extremely easy to flank.
Yeah, you just gotta stay away from it so you don't attack it head on, because if it gets shots in on you when you're trying to approach it, it does a load of damage to medium vehicles. So medium tanks like P4s and Oswins, for example, they get shoot up quite fast. So you gotta pay attention to that and try to get a flank off. But it can be hard, especially during blizzards, for example, with the line of sight. You don't exactly know where the unit is, maybe. You know, you get stuck in the heavy snow. You know, the threat of being sunk through the ice if the Su-85 gets a nice hit on you, it can be difficult on maps like Pripyat Winter.
Oh yeah, very difficult. Very difficult to get the flank on. There's, I mean, he's using the forward sight ability, which gives it such real, you know, such extreme line of sight.
Tunnel vision, basically.
Yeah, yeah. He's also got an Su-76 to provide some indirect fire.
Yeah, against the double MGs from Hans, not a bad idea, I think.
No, it's a good idea. Su-76 is not too bad against vehicles as well. It's okay. It's not amazing, but it'll do well.
Yeah, in a vacuum against medium armor like P4s, it's gonna lose every engagement basically. But it can still give some supporting fire for the Su-85 if it gets flanked, for example. If you get under rear armor of the P4 when it's trying to circle strafe the Su-85, for example, it can still do quite a lot of damage to it. It's not too bad.
No, it's not a bad vehicle at all. It's got a nice ability, does okay damage against vehicles.
Here they come.
The Su-85.
Yeah.
Oh, rear shots. This is not going to be nice.
Oh, nice. 2 shots, and he's actually using the barrage on the MG and the Pios in the center. This P4 is trying to run away for this Su-85, which actually got the flank off on the P4. Nice 2-pronged attack for Barton, using conscripts to actually basically... Nice bundle. Oh, wow, did way less than I expected it to do, but I guess they were quite spaced out. But yeah, the P4 was basically the one getting flanked now, not the Su-85.
Yeah, I mean, it had the back shown to the Su-85, and he managed to get three really nice shots in.
Yeah, at least 3. I think it might have been the Su-76 that got one of those 3 shots, but 2 shots from the Su-85 brings that P4 down to below half health, and that's going to force him off quite fast. Actually, he's going to be forced back into the base here. He's going to be repaired, and that's going to give Barton time to reclaim the territory that he lost after that initial forces, the initial engagements against Hans with the double M3s, forcing him off the map and basically grabbing all of the territories. Now he's going to be able to do that once again.
Yeah, and just reapply the VP pressure. I believe as well, if you've got a repair station on this map, it's not a bad idea to send your vehicle to there rather than repairing the base, because I do believe it's a little bit quicker than using your pioneers to repair the vehicle.
Might actually be, yeah. It might be a little bit quicker to use a repair station. I'm not exactly sure because obviously it has 4 Pios, just like the Pio squad. So I'm not exactly sure if there's a difference in the repair rates, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure. But obviously it's free and it's a unit that you're not using. It's just automatic. You don't you don't control them like a Pio squad. They're just there at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you could send the vehicle there, and you can use the Pioneer squad to, harass a point, or plant mines, or other tasks as well.
Or clear mines, like the Pios in Hans's base. He's got sweepers on them, so.
Yeah, even that too.
But obviously, you gotta pay attention to what's around the repair station, because obviously it's out of your base, so you don't have the protection of MG bunkers against infantry, for example. So yeah, it's a risk-reward thing.
It is a gamble, like many things in this game. There's always gambles involved, always risks towards doing certain things. Always be aware of what you're doing.
Pack got quite a lot of shots into the Su-85 actually, and did quite a lot of damage. A Faust went in as well. We did just have an MG go down to this M3 with a flamer in it. Half-track now being chased around as well. Su-76 in the center, laying down some supportive fire, while this Su-85 is getting repaired. Here comes the P4 again, almost fully repped, very close to being fully repped at least.
Yeah, I think he was trying to go in for a flank maybe on the Su-85, but he's seen like, oh, he's got constant support, I'll get 18-aided, I won't risk it. So he's just hanging back for now.
Yeah,
getting... the Su-76 is barraging the pack.
Ooh, nice, good idea. The pack did move out of the way, he loses 1 crew member. 1 out of 4 now in the recent patch, so not too bad. Pack's still going to be able to take 2 casualties before the 3rd guy runs away. Oh, this poor conscript squad might... No, he's actually going to live! I was
very lucky
quite lucky. Here comes the P4 now. Went away. He didn't go over the bridge. He went on the ice. Takes out the M3 with the guards in it. Guards being fairly good against light vehicles. They can button tanks like he's doing right now. The SU, there's 2 SUs now. One of them is turning the P4's way. Nice use of smoke on the P4. He's trying to get around, but I don't think that Hans is aware that there's now 2 Su-85s, not 1. Yeah, he just saw it with the P-Grants throwing in the bundle nade onto the repairing combat engineers, and he decided that, going in for a flank with a P4 against 1 Su-85, all nice and dandy. Against 2, a little bit too much of a risk, I think.
Yeah, he just said, oh, there's 2, I'm not gonna risk it. So he's gonna back off now. He was quite fortunate to take advantage of their slow turn rate so that he could get out with minimal shots being taken.
Yeah, I think you're going to take 1 shot from one of the Su-85s, so that wasn't too bad. Nice Su-76 barrage on the pack, clears the crew on that. This conscript squad might be in trouble. Vet 2 running away, but there is a P-Grand squad firing at them on retreat. He's going to actually be able to survive yet again at 1 man. He's getting quite lucky with those Vet 2 conscripts. The increase in durability is saving his ass right now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they do. I can't remember the numbers, but they do get more armor. At Vet 2, and I can't remember what they get at Vet 3. It's more
it's even more durability, I think.
Yeah. I can't remember the exact numbers, but yeah, it does help the durability of the squad quite, significantly.
Yeah. We do have a new P4 on the field. This time it's actually Doctrinal, the P4 command tank with a snub-nosed cannon instead. And we do have a new pack in production as well. He could potentially recruit the other one in the center, but these SUs are just waiting to pounce on this P4 in the center. Su-76 takes a nice shot from the P4. Off-map use. What off-map is this?
It's the
Sturmovik
strafing run.
Oh.
Yeah, Sturmovik. When the Su-76, I think it might have bought the farm.
Yeah, he might be going off this battlefield right there, destroyed by that P4. It didn't have any support. All of the Soviet forces moved away from the center, actually, so I'm not exactly sure why that Su-76 was still hanging around, because against the P4, in a vacuum alone, you're not going to be able to counter it. But as I said before, when it's, supporting an Su-85, it's a different story. But alone, you're not going to be able to tackle the medium armor from the Germans like P4s.
Yeah, there's not much chance. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Hans has gone Fistung armor, which is the one with the smoke launchers, is it? And it also gives him the Pack 43.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting, yeah. Interestingly enough, the Pack 43 is a really good counter to SUD5s. One big reason is because it can shoot through shot blockers. All you need is line of sight. So even if the actual gun itself is like behind the hedge, and the tank's on the other side, it'll still shoot through the hedge. So it's a really useful tool if you go that commander.
Yeah, the Pack 40 emplacements, Pack 43 emplacements, they can shoot through houses as well, I think, in forests, and yeah, any form of shot blockers, really. Because I've seen it in games when people put it behind a building, and it looks really funky. It's like, why would you put it behind a building? It's like an emplacement, but it can just shoot right through it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really, really useful tool.
Here comes the Soviet attack from Barton. He's going against the flanks on these two packs. And I don't think he actually knew that there was another pack. He was trying to go around the first one, which was decrewed and then recrewed with Pios from Hans. But he ran into two of them, and that was too much.
Yeah, not bad nade there as well. Ooh,
whoa!
Might be a better one. Oh, that was a better one.
that bundle was not bad at all. But these one-man retreats from Barton is quite lucky. He could have been down 2 conscripts and a guard squad by now if, you know, he didn't have Vet 2 and the increased durability.
Yeah,
it could have been game.
And here comes the other IL-2 bombing run. Not bombing run, sorry, strafing run.
Gonna go in.
Barton's got a load of munitions. Even after that quality, he's still got 360 munis. So he's at a definite muni advantage.
Yeah, he's got all 4 munitions points on the map, and he's had them for quite a while. Hans is obviously doing what he needs to do, fighting over the VPs in the center, because he needs to win this game to get a 3rd game. If he loses, it's over.
Yeah, you know, if he can get a good VP score and win this match, then he can, you know, possibly get in for faction choice.
Yeah, and he can get to the 3rd game, which he needs to win either way. So he has to have a win either way. If he gets VP choice or not, doesn't matter. If he loses this game, it's over.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But right now, it's looking
life on the line.
Yeah, it is his life on the line right now. But right now, it looks like he's basically being forced back. He's gonna lose the VPs now again in the center, as there's an abundance of Soviet forces there. Loads of these conscripts with PPSHs and veterancy, and that penal battalion squad. I haven't seen much of him in this game. He's got 0 kills. He basically has any XP at all. I don't think he's done much. He hasn't had a fun time because he can't protect himself against P4s, for example, and, you know, the half tracks, etc.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a funky spot. I think that, personally, I think that they cost a little bit too much, manpower-wise. And also, they're from support rifle, as in a special rifle command.
Yeah.
And by the time you've got conscripts out, then you get them in, and they're just like, you know, they do more damage, but they're not an amazing squad to buy. For the 360, you might want to get a guard squad, or even save up a bit more and get a shock troop squad.
Yeah, or from tier 1 you can get snipers as well, and maybe that's a better manpower investment because you can pick away at the Axis squad, not only force an entry retreat, but every shot taken on an infantry squad not being in a building, for example, is gonna produce a kill, and that's gonna be manpower down for your opponent.
Yeah, guaranteed manpower drain also helps. Oh,
I just heard the plane crash. Yeah, I heard the plane getting actually crashing. I believe that was the MG on the P4. That Top Gunner on the normal P4 can actually shoot down planes.
Yeah, I know, and so can the DHSK gunners as well on the Soviet heavy tanks as well. Very strange. But,
nice bundle thrown actually on that penal battalion squad. It looked a little bit weird, but he actually threw it at the penal battalion man that was actually holding the flamethrower. So, you know, if you get lucky, especially with splash attacks like grenades, for example, they can blow up. So, yeah, it was a good attempt for Hans.
A good attempt, but no cigar, unfortunately.
P4s. He's using the repair station now, Hans, to repair his P4s, while all of the other his forces are basically occupied trying to regain territories. And at the same time, he needs those VPs. He's down to 208 now.
Yeah, he's just slipped under Barton's score. So he's in, you know, starting to the pressure's starting to pile on now. He has to get some VPs back, even get one to slow this drain.
I don't know. I think his best bet, the problem is being that the conscript squads, most of the conscript squads from Barton are vetted now. Vet 2 conscript squads, very hard to deal with generally. But as there's no snipers on the field, for example, no Maxims either, I think his best bet might be trying to fight the Soviet infantry with his own infantry and using the tanks as support instead of trying to use them as attack units right now, because it's not going to work. Especially not with the Su-85s on the field from Barton. But he doesn't really have anything that's outright killing infantry. He's got PPSHs on his conscript squad and, you know, the guard squad, for example. He had a guard squad because it just went down to a bundle.
Yep, no, now it's dead. Barton built another penal battalion. Very strange choice as well.
I don't know. Maybe he knows something we don't. I don't know. I don't know about penal battalion squads. I barely ever use them myself. I find them a bit too pricey. As you said, I'd rather get the guard squadron. And he hasn't been using the satchel charges either, so I don't know. Massive Soviet push for Barton right now. He's just basically trying to push Hans off the field and stay in control of the VPs to continue the drain down to 142 VPs right now. Yeah, it's not looking too good, especially as his vehicles can't really do an effective push with double Su-85s on the field either. Mortar produced for Hans, interesting choice. I'm not exactly sure against what. Maybe the stolen packs. He wants to decrew those. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. I'm sorry, but I hit my mute button by accident. I was talking for ages. Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm not sure why he got the mortar. Maybe he accidentally got it instead of a sniper.
I don't know.
A sniper might not be a bad idea, you know, just to drain some manpower as well. German sniper is not as useless as people believe it to be, I find.
Yeah, as long as there's no Soviet snipers on the field, German sniper is perfectly valid. There's no problem, especially on maps that doesn't have that many buildings like Pripyat Winter, for example. Soviet sniper, especially when you take shots at the elite infantry like guards and shock troops, for example, it's quite a lot of manpower per shot there as well. So, you know, you can turn the tables on a Soviet player doing the same thing as they generally do by... Whoa, the plane just crashed.
Yeah, another kill for that MG gunner.
That MG guy!
Killing men, good at killing planes.
He's like the best plane killer I've ever seen. I don't think I've seen one P4 Top Gun ever kill 2 planes. Generally you need, you know, maybe 2 or 3 P4s with the MGs on them to shoot down a plane reliably, but it looks like that P4 is, I don't know, it's getting some nice hits with that MG against planes.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to have got, like, you know, the Top Gun of the Wehrmacht instead, or, you know, well, maybe he wanted to be in the Luftwaffe. That's why he's not shooting in the men. I gotta kill the other planes instead.
Here comes that command tank on the flank, but there's 2 Su-85s in the center still, so... Is there 3? No, there's an Su-76 now as well. He rebuilt that after losing it initially. And this P4 is caught completely out of position. He tried to go in for a supporting flank, but the other P4 is basically not moving. He needs to go in and support this command tank now, which was just taken out. And these Grens as well, trying to get the VPs in the center. I'm not exactly sure. This might be the last attack from the Axis player Hans right now against Barton's Soviet fortification in the center. He's just guarding his VPs. He's stopped harassing most of the resources on the left. He just lets them sit there because he's got his Axis opponent down to 45 VPs now.
Yeah, he just went, oh, I'm going to get the VPs. He's really low. Just hang on to these and then, you know, I've won the game. And Hans has got the Pack 43 up. Maybe, I think, a bit like if he had it up a bit earlier, it might have helped him.
Yeah, he needs line of sight as well to take out these Su-75 and Su-76 as well, but he doesn't have that right now.
No, he doesn't.
Ooh.
Might fire a retaliatory shot there.
Oh, Satchel on the P4 almost gets him, but it didn't.
No.
Too little, too late. Nice hits from the Pack 43 and placement against the SU-85s. They're very low health, all of them, and this SU-76 might be taken out by one shot from that Pack 43. One unit down. Is this going to be enough to break the Soviet stronghold in the center now? He's got some P-Grants trying to come in as well. And this mortar is setting up, but he's freezing to death. The P4, Vet2, very low health. Main gun destroyed. Gets taken out by the SU-85s. One gets abandoned by taking a shot from that Pack 43 emplacement, but that's the game. Down to 0 VPs for Hans. He did a little bit of a comeback there in the end with that Pack 43. If he just had it a little bit earlier, I think.
Yeah, I think, what did he get? He got something else. I think he got a mortar, and there was something else at one point he bought, which I think maybe he shouldn't have bought. I couldn't remember what it was, but because I was following Barton. But I think if he had it earlier, when he had his own, VP, then he would have, been able to take out those SU-85s or push them back, so then he could have the middle.
Let's see what veterancy gets you on a Pack 43. Weak point, veteran ability, and then you get increased weapon damage at Vet 2. Do they really need more weapon damage? He just one hit at an SU-76. Increases weapon damage and adds to armor at Vet 3. And it was already Vet 2, and he only killed the SU-76 because you get veterancy in Company of Heroes 2 differently from VCO, Company of Heroes 1 that is. Not only kills will give you XP and veterancy now, damage, just dealing damage is enough. Taking damage as well.
Yeah, I think they changed the rate so that, taking damage rewards less XP.
Yeah,
but
before it was 50-50 and now it's 75-25, I think. So you mainly get veterancy from dealing damage, but you don't have to get outright kills anymore. That's a big difference, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I believe they did that because of, when you had the bought vet from the Germans in the first game as well. It was quite hard to get back on the vet footing with the Americans because, you just didn't have... you had to kill squads, and it would get to a point where it was very difficult to kill actual units.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with veterancy in Company of Heroes 1, especially with the Wehrmacht. When you get Vet 2 Grenadiers, actually getting that kill was very problematic sometimes, even with bars, for example, that just nullifies everything. So the only good hard counter was basically the US sniper, and then the sniper would get all the veterancy, which is all nice and dandy, but you want your rifles to scale as well. Without the rifle support, the sniper can't really do that much. It needs some form of a meat shield in front of it. Otherwise, you're going to be, one bike, one Schwimmwagen or whatever. It's going to roll up on your sniper and just polish him off instantly. So it was hard in Company of Heroes 1 as you needed straight up kills, straight up man kills. You need to kill one man of the squad to get any veterancy or any XP for your units whatsoever. It didn't matter if you got the squad down to 50% if you didn't kill a single grenadier. It was no point. So you just did a lot of damage, and they used a medkit and up to snuff in 2 seconds. No problem. But in Company of Heroes 2, dealing damage and taking damage, dealing damage being better, but that still gives you veterancy. So nicely played from both players. I think Hans had a comeback coming there because the SU-76 was out, one of the SU-85s was out, the second one was very low health, all of his infantry in the center was basically very low health and low man as well, but I think the Pack 43 came too late. So nicely played from Barton, especially his Axis game. That was very strong, I think. One of the strongest Axis games I've seen, using that forward healing bunker and the half track, and instead of doing hard retreats back to base, he just soft retreated, reinforced, healed up, and got back into the center. Really works on Pripyat, I think.
Oh yeah, it was really good fortified position that he created there.
Yeah,
especially on this map.
Yeah, especially on Pripyat. I think it works very good here. So he has a set mind, a set tactic for Axis on Pripyat. So well played from Barton and Hans in the finals of the ESL Opening Cup. So congratulations to Barton for taking this home. And there's going to be more tournaments and more events for ESL. IpKaiFung here with me tonight is the admin for Company of Heroes 2 ESL. So make sure to actually check out that. And scroll down also at the page you're looking at right now to check out all of the community links. Go check out the streamers. The finalists you've seen here tonight, HelpingHans and Barton, for example, they're both down there in the community links, so go check them out and follow their channels. And yeah, see you guys for the next time.
All right, see you guys.